What's up, y'all, and happy Tuesday. I hope everybody out there is happy and healthy. So let's go ahead and get down. And I want to start off talking about Blove because she recently posted that she was in ICU. Apparently, she tried to just go cold turkey and switch from eating the foods that she normally eats. And she wanted to transition to being more healthy by starting a water and juice diet. And apparently it put her body into shock. Now, before her recent hospitalization, there were so many people that were concerned for her health based off of the fact that her hands started to appear to be puffy and also her face was puffy as well. And a lot of people came to the conclusion that that was just the results of Blove consuming all of this salt for so many years, eating all of these mukbangs. You know what I'm saying? And people were lobbying for Blove to actually quit and just give it up and try something else. It is what it is. Your health is more important, but that's better said than done when you've accumulated wealth and you bought a big house, you got the Bentleys, you have the condo in Atlanta, and Blove is a type of individual that has big bills. So at the end of the day, I'm not trying to count her coins whatsoever. No. But I'm saying she has big bills and a big responsibility to keep that money train going. But anyway, what I'm going to elect to do right here is insert the video of Blove talking about her hospitalization, and then I'll be back.
And they told me I was sleeping a lot too on that, like the fourth day. Everything started on the fifth day, I think. And I started sleeping a whole lot. And my husband said, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just tired." And they told me I could have went into a coma. I was like, "What?" That was silly me. And then it was like, I could have had a heart attack because I didn't have, I guess I was in starvation mode or something. So long story short, I had to stop the fast. They said they would not release me until I ate something. And so the first day they gave me some Salisbury steak, scalloped potatoes, and some cauliflower. I got to pick what I wanted because I was like, y'all got something healthy because I ain't want nothing, crazy. And they gave me that. I didn't finish it all. Then they gave me some fish, some herb crusted, I don't know, herb crusted fish or something with some green beans and some pilaf rice. And so I ate half of the fish and all the green beans and not eat none of the rice. But it was something on my stomach. And so that's where we at today. And today they're supposed to bring me some bacon and eggs with cheese. So we see how that goes. But yeah, I'm still in here. I think they're going to send me home with potassium. I'm not sure. I wasn't in no pain at all. It's just like I felt like I was a little bit weak. You know what I'm saying? But as far as pain, I didn't have a pain tolerance. No pain at all. It's just that I was throwing them because you keep liquids down. And by me not keeping liquids down, I depleted myself all of my electrolytes and all of my fluids and stuff like that. I wasn't hydrated enough. And so that's what happened.
All right, so you guys just saw that, and I want to commend Blove for making a change. She wants to be healthy from here on out. Why don't you transition to doing mukbangs involving fruits and vegetables, right? I know it's not appeasing to some people and it may not garner the views that you used to get, but at the end of the day, at least you're doing something that you absolutely love while taking care of your health at the same time. And just a little food for thought here to people that are considering making a change to become more healthier and watch what you put inside your body. It's imperative that you go through your doctor first because everybody isn't equipped to be able to handle a water or a juice diet for a significant amount of time. And you also can't go cold turkey. You have to gradually ease into the process. But I'm wishing Blove a speedy recovery and best of luck to her and her future endeavors. So anyway, let's move along, and I want to talk about Madonna. So there's this conversation that Madonna is in the Epstein files, right? And so after looking up the details, Madonna is mentioned in the Epstein files at least twice, and it's interesting. Now, what I'm going to do right here is insert this clip of this content creator talking about some more beneficial and educational things as it pertains to the Epstein files, so pay close attention. But then I'm going to come back and we'll discuss the details.
Can bring a little back for you or two, but what so Madonna will email when we get to Amsterdam. That is a real email from the recent Epstein files releases. And if you want to take a screenshot or pause this and look, this is the email itself. It was sent by a woman named Penny Siegel to Jeffrey Epstein's email account in 2009 with the subject Kenya. And I don't know what this means. I don't know if this woman was talking about actually smuggling out of Kenya to be given to Jeffrey Epstein. If she was talking about trafficking, I don't know. But I've heard stories like this before. For example, in the Marc Dutroux story, Marc Dutroux is basically the Jeffrey Epstein of Belgium. There were allegations from victim witnesses that they actually had farms, aka locations, warehouses, where mothers were literally up and kept in these warehouses, safe houses, greenhouses, whatever they were, and they were raped and then forced to stay there until they gave birth. The were then sold off to various rings, organizations, and the mothers were then again and impregnated, and the thing just continued on and on. So this is not something new, and some of these allegations that we've seen in the last few days have been incredibly disturbing. You probably know this already. I mean, I covered this yesterday. We talked about somebody who wrote into the FBI and claimed that they saw getting their cut out, eaten from their on a private boat party. And I'm not saying I endorse all of these claims and I believe all of these claims, but I think that it's important to note that there's a historic trend of these claims being made surrounding these sorts of rings. This is not new. We are still just scratching the surface of how dark Epstein really was. And they're never, ever going to reveal the full truth about it. That is something I can promise and guarantee you right now. But I'm going to keep on digging and keep asking questions. Now, it's interesting, actually. I'm just connecting this now. This email actually talks about getting to Amsterdam with the that's where Marc Dutroux's victims claimed the factories were essentially being ran out of. It was in Amsterdam. So let me know your thoughts on all this below. I'm very curious to see what you guys think of all this.
All right, so let's take a look at some of the comments from this video, and I'm just going to read the top one here. It says Madonna had adopted children from Africa, so they are referring to that, I would think. Then another person chimes in and says, so Madonna, because Madonna adopted black youngins, so they were going to pretend they adopted these youngins to traffic them. Someone needs to investigate who this Peggy Siegel is and have her arrested. Now, when you take a look at the bottom comment, it says, wasn't Oprah's girls' school in Kenya? Oprah's girls' school is in Kenya, and it's still open to this day. But anyway, let's continue. So this person asked, what does Madonna mean? And somebody replied and said she adopted Kenyan babies. All right, so first and foremost, Madonna did not adopt her 4 children from Kenya. She adopted her 4 children from Malawi, which is a 36-hour drive from Kenya. Now, it says here, as it pertains to Madonna being mentioned in the Epstein files, in a December 2009 email released by the Department of Justice, Hollywood publicist Peggy Siegel reportedly offered Epstein a youngin from Kenya, remarking that the act would be so Madonna, referencing the singer's high-profile adoptions from Malawi. Now, it was also revealed in the Epstein files that Jeffrey Epstein didn't care for Madonna too much, and it says here, other documents reveal Epstein's personal disdain for the singer. In various letters and emails, he reportedly referred to her as cattle, while criticizing her public discussions about Kabbalah. Now, I want to make it clear that Madonna was not associated with Jeffrey Epstein in no form or any fashion. She was not connected to Jeffrey Epstein, so up until this point, as it pertains to the Jeffrey Epstein files, she is clear of any wrongdoing. But anyway, that email exchange between Epstein and Peggy Siegel was very disturbing, to say the very least. So I want to read you some things about Peggy Siegel. Now, the word was that she was actually Epstein's publicist, but that's a lie. She wasn't. They were just good friends, and she would help him to get into these elite spaces. And so let me take the time to read you this. In Siegel's case, the New York Times reported that she would get Epstein, a financier, and registered SO into movie screenings after he was released from jail following a 2008 conviction, and she hosted a dinner at Epstein's Manhattan mansion attended by Prince Andrew. The culture before the hashtag #MeToo was, "You've done your time, now you're forgiven," Siegel told The Times. He said he served his time and assured me that he had changed his ways, she said of Epstein. No matter, Netflix and Hollywood studios and other entertainment companies are cutting ties to her due to her Epstein connections, according to Variety. According to the report, FX and Annapurna Pictures are among companies that broke off their relationships with Siegel. Epstein was arrested on July 8, 2019 on charges of trafficking and trafficking a minor, and was later denied bail after stories from The Times and Hollywood Reporter detail how Siegel got Epstein in exclusive events. Netflix reportedly fired the publicist who had been a consultant on its Emmys campaign. Variety reported that FX cut Siegel from its tastemaker events for the TV series, and that Annapurna fired her from overseeing the premiere of the upcoming film Where Do You Go, Bernadette? Epstein previously served a 13-month sentence in Florida, much of that time on work release, after being convicted in 2008 on 2 counts of procuring and soliciting prostitution. I'm paraphrasing there. The Hollywood Reporter also reported that Siegel helped reintroduce Epstein into elite events after his time in jail, reportedly receiving gifts and free travel from the financier. Siegel told the outlet that at the time it was not common knowledge that Epstein had blank blank. You guys can see what it says. Had I known that he had been accused of blank blank blank, I would not have maintained a friendship with him, she said to the Hollywood Reporter. All right, so it's pretty clear that this Peggy chick is fucking lying, because the email between her and Epstein took place back in 2009, and then all of a sudden in 2019, when you get fired from numerous positions, all of a sudden you had no idea that Jeffrey was committing all of these egregious crimes. And so if that's the case, why were you discussing potentially bringing him back some youngins and making a reference to Madonna if you didn't know what was going on? And another question that I have, if Peggy was going to potentially bring Epstein some youngins from Kenya, who the hell were they for? Because Epstein made it clear that he didn't want no ninjas, and I'm paraphrasing there. But anyway, what I'm going to do right here is turn your attention to a lady actually discussing the Kenya reference that was in the email between Peggy and Epstein, and then I'll be back.
Breaking news, Kenya is in Epstein files, and this is very shocking because it raises a lot of questions as to why the famous Western people, they adopt children from Africa. So among the 3 million documents which was released on Friday by US Department of Justice, there is an email about Kenya. So the person who made this email is called Peggy Siegel. She is talking about how she wants to visit Kenya and go to Masai Mara. So she is going with someone called Mati. In this email, she's talking about how they are going to visit in different places like Masai Mara, and also they are going to visit Maasai tribes. And she is also talking about how maybe this Maasai tribe, they are going to them, and if they don't them, the Somali pirates, they are going to them. This is the most important part. She is talking about how she can bring one or two, either boy to Jeffrey Epstein. Can you imagine this? And she made a reference to Madonna. So she was talking about how she can take small to Jeffrey Epstein. But you need to understand this also. The president of Kenya, who was Uhuru Kenyatta by then, he banned foreigners from adopting local children.
All right, so I want to make sure I'm not mistaken, but I think that she said that the president of Kenya at the time of this email exchange between Epstein and Peggy basically banned foreigners from adopting youngins. But when I look it up, the formal ban did not take place until September the 12th of 2019. And I don't think that Jeffrey or Peggy were thinking about adoption. They were thinking about abducting, if I'm being honest. Now, another thing that I want to address real quick and in a hurry is the fact that a lot of people thought that Eminem was in the files. He's not in the Epstein files whatsoever. It says here, some reports suggest that references to a marshal in the documents indicate a situation where an individual tried to get a young person to seduce him at a restaurant, but the evidence suggests he showed no interest. And then it goes on to say the rumors gained traction on social media, particularly among supporters of Donald Trump, following political criticism from Eminem, but these claims are unsupported by evidence. So all of that is just misinformation. Eminem is not in the Epstein files. But anyway, let's move along because I want to share with you some information that I've gotten from an insider. Now, this particular insider was sent my video, and they actually work in the political field. Now, if you guys are not privy to what's going on with Hillary and Bill Clinton, well, the House Oversight Committee voted to advance resolutions holding Bill and Hillary in contempt of Congress for defying subpoenas related to an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Now, what the committee was actually pushing for was an in-person testimony regarding their relationship with Epstein, and Bill and Hillary declined. Now, with Bill and Hillary potentially facing criminal contempt charges, which can include fines and I think a year in jail if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they ultimately agreed to sit for depositions to avoid a full House floor vote on the contempt citation. Now, this is the plot that was explained to me that the Clintons are trying to enforce. So basically what was told to me, right? And I'm going to say this is all alleged information because I don't know if it's factual, but this is coming from somebody that works directly in politics. So what's been said to me is basically that the Clintons want to go to trial because as soon as it happens, the entire Epstein files will have to be released publicly, because at that point, everything that has been redacted in the Epstein files will have to be unredacted. And they're saying, allegedly, that Donald Trump's name is in there so much, along with videos, pictures, and etc. Now, it's also been said that a member from Trevor Noah's camp is hoping that Donald Trump sues him because, again, Trevor is going to want to go to court, because that is going to put Trump in a position where he's going to have to prove that he never, ever visited Epstein's island. And so this is the play that's coming from the Clintons and Trevor Noah and his camp. They want a public trial because when you take it to court, things can't be clipped. They're going to have to unseal and unredact everything. I have the documentation that was sent to me expressing this from this particular politician that sent me this information. I was told not to post it, but I could talk about it. Now, the question that I have, and I've asked it, but I haven't gotten a response yet, but if Bill Clinton, and we know that Bill Clinton is implicated within the Epstein files, but to what extent? Because if you're going to play hardball like this, it exposes you too. So when you go to court, all of your dirt and all of your baggage, allegedly, will be put out there for the whole wide world to see. But hey, I'm gonna let this go right here. I want you guys to feel free to drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about everything I discussed. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and if you're new here, consider subbing to the channel. I'll get with you guys later. Have a beautiful day.
Tough News TV. We out.